Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this April 4th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon, and we're on the EOA network.
Yep.
How are you, man?
First Friday.
First
Almost
Friday.
the end of the week.
And
Yep.
snow's coming.
The snow's coming. That's miserable.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah. Supposed to be snow in
Up on the mountain.
Up
at
on the
least, for
mountains,
sure.
yeah.
We might not get a lot down here, but it's gonna get bad up there apparently.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's not. What is it? April 4th.
Yeah.
Told you there was more coming. We weren't
Yeah.
done. It's just how it works.
Well, and we'll see how it gets, if it gets down into the valley or not.
I mean, it's gonna rain for sure.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have rain for like the next.
Yeah. In fact, let's do weather real quick while we're
Let's
talking
do it.
about.
We'll
Yeah.
do it
So
in backwards order.
yeah. So
It's crappy.
yeah, it's kind of gloomy out there right now.
Yep.
And then what's our local here forecast? So 48 today, 31 tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like down in the valley here, it's mostly going to be
Yep. Rain.
Just
rain.
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 yeah.
But there's a winter storm warning for the Blue Mountains starting at 5 today.
Yeah.
And it says 10 to 20 inches of snow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of snow.
Yeah. That could be.
And it's only until Saturday, so that's a 2-day stretch of. And my mom went over yesterday, and she said it snowed all the way to Pendleton.
Yeah.
And they said, I looked at the thing, and there's already an inch of snow up there, so yeah, not good.
We'll see.
Yeah.
See how that translates.
Not my favorite.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Did you see the truck out? We were talking about it before the show. The ODF and W truck that dumped over out at Looking Glass. 100,000 smolt, salmon smolt.
Well,
Chinook.
So did it must have turned over close enough to the creek, or when it was
Yeah, it
backing
said-
up, or what?
In the article, it said that about 3/4 of them, so about 75,000 made it to the creek and lived, and about 25,000 died.
Well, so I wonder how they. I mean,
They
so
must have
maybe,
dumped on the same side of the road as the creek, or
Yeah.
they were just quick to get them.
Oh,
I don't think. I mean, it had to have dumped close to the creek.
yeah.
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 But still, 25,000 salmon is quite a bit to lose in one little.
Yeah, and are the smolt, and how big are they? You know?
They're good size. I saw the picture. I mean, they're not like this.
Oh, really? They're
No,
like.
they're-
Oh, wow.
They're big. They look pretty big in the picture.
Wow.
And these ones had already been tagged, so they were they were going somewhere to be released.
Yeah.
But I don't know where. I didn't catch the whole to do of it. But that's a lot of fish to dump out.
Yeah, you don't really think about, that process.
The good thing is the driver is safe. That's the most important thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, he I think it said no injuries.
Yeah.
But you wonder, you know what I mean? If you're that driver, you're like, oh man, am I going to get fired for this?
Well, and especially something like that, all the work that goes into
A
getting
hundred
them
thou-
to that stage. Yeah.
Raising them.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't people. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the good part.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a hatchery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
of course.
I hadn't until Tanya and I did that shoot up in Lapaway, and we went up to the one up there. And
Yeah.
it's super interesting.
The one on the way to Portland, what's that one called? It has the big sturgeon, like the 17-foot sturgeon.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been up to Looking Glass. I've fished when they release the salmon that have already spawned that are gonna die, and it's like up there.
Yeah.
And it's combat fishing. There's people everywhere. Almost every fish you catch already has a lure in it from snapping somebody. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Right. Yeah.
You're just catching them. They're gonna die anyways. They spawned, and it's crazy how many people. At least back in the 90s, that was the last time I fished up there.
Where was that at? On the
Up by
Columbia?
Looking Glass. No, here.
Oh, okay. Oh,
on
I
the
see.
Grand Ronde.
Oh,
Yeah, outside Elgin.
okay.
Yeah. It gets
Yeah, no,
crazy.
I mean, I've heard about that several times. It's just never been up that way.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. They fight, but it's like I said. It's like there's so many people up there that I think the state comes out and puts out porta potties every and it's just almost shoulder to shoulder on the river. It's crazy how many people go up there trying to catch these fish after they
Yeah. See, I
spawn.
don't know. I don't. It's not my kind of fishing.
That kind of fishing ain't my kind of
Yeah.
fishing either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I did it like twice one summer,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't do it again. No, I like I like being out in the ocean on a boat.
Yeah.
That's my kind of fishing.
When I was a kid in Wyoming, there was a canal that kind of ran right where we were, you know, and different times of the year you'd go up to the gate, and you'd try and get carp, and you know, carp is a waste fish. It's like they're not edible, and
they're invasive species.
yeah, and you could try and snag them, or we even got a bow and arrow with a, you know, and they have like a line that attaches to the arrow, and I mean, we would try all kinds of inventive ways of like, well, let's try and go get some carp. Yeah, we spent hours and hours.
You don't eat those
inventing
things.
things. No, they're just
you throw them on the shore.
Yeah.
Some people get mad at you for throwing them on the shore, but you know what else are you supposed to? You're not supposed to throw them back.
Well, this is back in the 70s, so this is a while ago.
There's so many different kinds of carp too.
Yeah.
That we have here in our lakes and rivers.
Yeah.
So many different kinds.
Well, and I think I mean, it seems like they eat the eggs of the trout or something.
They eat everything.
What is it? I can't remember.
They're destructive.
Yeah.
And I think they originally come from Asia.
Yeah. They're essentially kind of a goldfish, that kind of
they're
a
nasty looking. They got big old scales on them.
Yeah.
Sucker looking mouth.
Yeah.
Ugh. I would not eat one of those just because they're garbage fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They eat everything.
Yeah.
You know how they say fish generally takes on the taste of whatever they eat, right? So there's a certain kind of fish in the ocean. I don't remember what it's called, but all it eats is crab. That's
crab?
all it eats. Crab, yeah. And when you eat the fish, it tastes like crab. I've had it before. I can't remember what it's called though. It doesn't even taste like fish because all it eats is crab. So it literally tastes like crab.
So what's the best fishing you've ever done? Like the most memorable fishing trip?
My buddy has a boat, a tuna boat. So we've done, you know, like overnights out on the coast here in Oregon, tuna fishing. That's kind of fun. I really like just throwing the old. My friend who was a Benton County sheriff, he passed away from brain cancer, but he had a boat, and we would take it out into the bay, and we would throw the crab pots, and then we'd go rockfish and lingcod. I love lingcod. Like lingcod's probably my favorite fish. And we would go, you know, catch our limit and rockfish and our 2 lingcod, and come back and pull the pots on the way, and we'd go back, cook. His house was on the way to my house. We'd stop, cook everything up, have a few beers, and eat fresh fish and crab. I mean, it's hard to beat, really.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite trip was, and I was, I don't know, probably 19 or 20, something like that, and went brookie fly fishing. I had never fly fished, and had never and this was up around Afton, Wyoming, in that area, and it was I enjoyed it because it's so much like hunting. I mean, you would on those I mean, because the fish, those big brookie trout would kind of lay in puddles, you know, in those holes, and you'd kind of have to sneak up on it, and it was challenging. It was just super challenging.
We must call brookie something different, like
Yeah.
in Wyoming than Oregon, because like a brookie to me is a little teeny like brook trout.
Well, they weren't very big.
Oh, they weren't big?
No, but
okay.
super tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's some
just
really
super
good brook
delicious,
trout
yeah.
fishing here in the valley.
Yeah.
Out Somerville area, there's my uncle's and aunt's property out there on Hunter.
Yeah.
I've caught quite a few little brook trout out there.
Well, and I had
nice.
Done brook fishing before, but never fly fishing.
I don't like fly fishing.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is one fishing story that I do remember when I was a kid. We went on a charter out of Oceanside, California. Me and my grandpa and my cousin. And my grandpa caught a barracuda on that trip, and my cousin caught a 6.5-foot tiger shark.
Wow.
Yeah. And we caught a seagull.
A seagull?
Yeah. Yeah, you throw that bait in. If it don't get off the top of the water fast,
They'll
either,
scoop down.
yeah, or you'll catch a crapfish.
Yeah.
You want it to get down quick, as
Yeah.
quick as possible. But yeah, Grandpa caught a barracuda. Cousin caught like 6.5 foot. It was big.
Yeah.
It was gnarly looking too. Tiger shark.
I've never been fishing on the ocean.
It's my favorite. By
Never
far.
done that. I mean, we did crab fishing one time in Depot Bay, and
Yeah.
really enjoyed that. Dungeness crab, really, but never.
You get rock crab too in Depot Bay. You
Yeah.
get both.
Yeah.
But you can I think there's a limit for each, so you just keep the
Yeah.
rock crab have those big claws, man.
Yeah. Yep.
I like I like going on charter fishing trips off the coast too, just because at least half of the people are sick all the time, so somebody's got to catch their fish too. So whoever's not sick gets to catch.
Right. You got to catch a lot of fish.
Yeah, you got to catch a lot of fish. Once you limit, you start working on other people's limits.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I mean? It makes it kind of fun. It makes sure everybody has some fish when they go home.
Yeah.
But manually pulling crab pots. So my buddy's boat, he had 4 crab pots, full, big,
Right.
round crab pots. But you have to manually pull them. He didn't have a winch.
Yeah.
No. So he was always the driver. So I was always the puller. Yeah. I was like, one of these days, he's like, when you get a boat, you can be the driver and I'll be the puller. That sounds like a fair deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit. Saturday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Hobby Habit will be hosting a Star Wars Unlimited draft event. Go draft Star Wars Unlimited with them. If you want to learn the game, they would love to show you how to build starter decks and teach you how to play. LHS Wrestling is having their fundraiser April 24th at 6 p.m. in the LHS Commons. I have tickets if you want tickets. It's basically a steak feed, tri-tip. Starts at, like I said, 6 p.m. It's $30 a ticket, $50 a couple, or $80 for your whole family. And that includes the food. They have a big auction. And the best part about it is at the very end, they take all the leftover meat and you can pay $20 and you literally get a plate stacked about that high with meat for $20 at the end. I got one and I ate on that tri-tip for like 4 days. You also get a car wash with this ticket from Island Express Car Wash. And yeah, like I said, $30 a person, $50 for a couple, $80 for a family. If you need tickets, get a hold of me or find a wrestler here in town. And there's always a lot of people there. I think the last one, I didn't get to go last year, but the year before that, I think there was like around 300 people there. It's crazy how many people support LHS Wrestling. LHS Softball has a home game tonight at 4 p.m. versus Mac High, depending upon the weather, obviously. It's supposed to rain. LHS Baseball is at home on Saturday versus Philomath at 11. Hopefully we'll be able to get that in. EOU Baseball lost to Whitman last night on the road. They go to Corbin in Salem this weekend for 4 games. The new polls came out for softball and track and field this week. EOU softball held steady at number 15 in the country. I think that's underrated for sure for this team. I think they're like 22-5. They're, I want to say 12-3 in the conference or 10-3 in the conference. And I mean, they beat OIT 2 out of 3. They have a better record than OIT, and OIT moved up from number 5 to number 4. It doesn't make sense, but I like being the underdog for this team. I think it's all going to wash out in the next few weeks as the softball team will host College of Idaho this weekend, and I'll talk about that in a second. EOU track and field, the Lady Mounties moved up from I think 18 to number 13 in the country in this week's poll, so that's cool for them. They are in Spokane this weekend at the Whitworth Peace Meet. So those softball games for EOU against C of I this weekend, they've been moved to Saturday and Sunday instead of Friday and Saturday because of weather. So they think the weather's going to be a little bit better on Saturday and Sunday. Friday, tomorrow it's supposed to be really bad. The games on Saturday at 2 and 4, and the games on Sunday are at 11 and 1 up here at Peggy Anderson Memorial Field. And then finally, EOU women's lacrosse is at Corbin on Sunday for a 1 p.m. game versus the Warriors. And here's a little look at the schedule once again for EOU athletics this week, brought to you by EOU Athletics. We appreciate that. AM Sports Report brought to you by Hobby Habit, just for the fun of it.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and this weekend also is the opening of Big Fish out at Elgin Opera House. Trevor Winder, I think it's Winder.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with names. I didn't even get the. Remember during the Cody Bowen show?
When
I said her name like 20 times before we even started the show, and I pooched it.
I have
right?
Winn, so I think that's Winder. I mean, that's not how you spell it, but that's how I spelled it phonetically.
Winder.
Yeah.
Winder.
Anyhow, so Trevor.
We just call him Trevor. Yeah.
Trevor and Trevor and great cast. Big Fish. We haven't got tickets for that yet. It's probably going there. So they're not doing a show next weekend. So they're doing a show 3 weekends, but it's opens this weekend and then skips next weekend and then the following 2 weekends.
Oh,
And so
interesting.
be sure and check that out. I think that's going to be a great show, and we're looking forward to taking that in. And then also this afternoon, if I can, I'm going to get over and Cliff Bentz, our congressman for this area, U.S. representative, is having they're calling it a wolf listening session.
Why? Wolf.
Wolf.
Oh, talking about the wolves.
Talking about
okay.
the impact
Gotcha.
of wolves in Eastern Oregon. Yeah.
So what?
And that is
he's
at-
going to talk about it?
I was a little confused by that. Anyhow, that's at the Pendleton Convention Center. And if I can get over there, we will carry that. But yeah, I don't know I'm a little unclear, but it's getting quite a bit of buzz. So I think that there'll be some people that would appreciate us having it.
Yeah, I mean, there's always arguments about the wolves, but
Yeah.
I'm just kind of, it is what it is.
Well, and it's kind of funny because when I talked to Cliff's PR guy a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, look, I know the local wolf stories. We have a pretty good first person account right here in the valley. So, yeah. Anyhow, yeah.
No guests today.
No guests today.
No.
But I'll tell you what, let me tell you about one of our sponsors, Valley Insurance, downtown LeGrand. Joel and Matt and staff do a great job. They are an independent insurance agency, and so they have a variety of vendors that they deal with, so then they can find something that matches your needs. They're also one of the few health insurance people in the area that actually insurance agencies that also help with health. And so be sure and go check them out because they cover everything else also, home, auto. They actually have our business auto policy with them. And so good guys, be sure and check them out. Valley Insurance, downtown LeGrand. We'll be right back.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
All right, we're back. April the 4th version of AM Live on EOA.
Bud Forrest says that carp is a Chinese delicacy.
Is it?
Yeah,
You think
that's
you
what he says.
talking about carp when you said that?
Yeah. What else would he have been talking about?
Well, I don't know. You talked about rockfish and
No, I'm pretty sure he's talking about carp.
does it during the carp
I would
conversation?
imagine.
Yeah.
They all I know in Asia they eat a lot of mackerel too. Mackerel. They eat a lot of stuff that we don't eat. You know what I mean? It's just different culture.
You know, I mean, it's so interesting. Social media has kind of brought you a peek, at least for me. It brings me a peek into stuff that I'd never have any experience whatsoever, you know.
Yeah.
Because they'll have how they process a tuna or a carp or whatever fish it might be, you know. And of course, the people that do that, I mean, they've done thousands of them, and so they're like, they know exactly, you know.
Yeah.
But that is always just super interesting. It's kind of like
There's people that have like TikTok lives
yeah,
in other countries, like in fish processing plants, and they just put their phone up and while they're working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you just watch them break down a fish or break down a cow or break down, you know what
Right.
I mean? It's incredible.
yeah, and it really, and you just have, I mean, that is a super interesting thing.
It's cool.
Yeah, and it's giving you, like I said, it's like you'd never in a million years have. I mean, I'm always interested in people's occupations and what they do, whether that be at the plywood plant or a butcher or a carpenter, you know, and it's just always interesting to see the process. And especially, I mean, some of these videos, you know, they'll take an hour video and speed it up to 30 seconds.
And you
so
can
then
see the whole
you
process in
yeah.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Which reminds me, have you seen any of those 3D printed houses? Have you seen any of that process?
I have. I've watched a video of it where it's pouring the concrete out of the nozzle and
Yeah.
rolling around. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Those are
mean, that is
crazy.
just super crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That speaking back to the social media and the internet, that just goes to show that the internet is the best thing ever and the worst thing ever
Right.
all in one. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's brought us so much. It's opened, you know, doors to so many things, but at the same time, it's just destroyed certain things. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how yin and yang it is.
yeah.
It's just yeah.
Well, and I'm astounded at the number of occupations that's all they do. Their entire occupation is
It's got to be a
making
pretty nice
content.
percentage of the people on the
Yeah.
planet.
well, and you know, I mean, that's a little bit us, but we kind of started making content from a different context, you know, and it's local content. But you know, I mean, we're content creators in the new terms, you know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that's
Don't ever call me that though, because I'll smack you. I don't want to be a content creator.
no, but
I'm a
it,
sports dude.
right. But I mean, you create sports content
Yeah, that's true.
but it's, you know, somebody told me recently that we're hyper local. Somebody who didn't buy advertising from us.
Well, we are pretty hyper.
Yeah,
local.
and it's like,
what
well,
would you
yeah.
recommend?
Right. And I would say it's like, yeah, and yeah, you say that like it's a bad thing, you know, but yeah.
Yeah.
But that is a lot different than 90% of the other content creators. I mean, they're trying to make content to catch
for
the
the world.
attention of the world. Yeah, you know.
But part of the reason why we're hyper local, especially when it comes to sports, and I'll speak on this, is because I'm a one man team.
Well, right.
I can't cover the whole, you know, all of Oregon. It's like there's one person sitting here.
Well, but I think for me, you know, so I'm a moderate sports person. That's what I would call myself,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, so I will be interested in the Super Bowl or the playoffs. I'll be less interested in basketball stuff. But I mean, it's just not my thing. And so I think that us being hyper local with sports, it creates a little broader audience locally for sports, because you have people, they might not love basketball, but their grandkid is playing.
Yeah.
And so then, or their friend's grandkid is doing really well.
Yeah.
And so then, it becomes a way broader audience than just people who love sports.
Right.
Yeah.
And hyper local, I would even argue that, you know, maybe we are hyper local, but I think I've said that before on here. I had a picture that did 550,000 views.
Right.
There ain't 550,000 people in
Right.
in LeGrand, I promise you that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, So every once in a while, it does hit other markets. Cody said, "Doddsy the influencer." Yeah, Cody. I'll influence you on how to eat a cheeseburger. That's about it.
Yeah. No, I don't. I love what we do. You know, we're still trying to figure out how to pay for this model.
Yeah.
But
Working on it though.
yeah, yep.
It's
But
not. It's fun. It's still fun. I know that.
Well, and it's super rewarding. That
Yeah.
is, you know, I mean, kind of now that I'm in this campaign mode and I'm trying to figure out the things that, it's so weird trying to write a list of things that you feel like you've done to help the community, you know. Well, a large part of EOA Live just comes out of, and you feel the same way. You have the same heart. That's why you're involved, is because we like telling the good stories of Eastern Oregon. I mean,
Yeah.
you like shining a spotlight on kids that, I mean, it's like that wrestling. Yeah, you know. I mean,
Speaking of this wrestling
Yeah.
thing, somebody come buy one of these from me. Club gave me a whole stack of these things, and I really don't want to give him back the whole stack. I want to
Yeah.
at least sell a couple.
Yeah.
So if you want to
Yeah.
go, come buy one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
tickets
think-
are
I
$30.
think- Tanya and I'll buy one from you.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Then we got. I
Yeah,
got
mean,
at least one sell.
I haven't looked at the date yet, but
It's
I'm
April
pretty-
24th at 6 o'clock, and it's really cool. They have a huge auction.
Is that a Saturday?
You're asking the wrong guy.
It's
That
April
BC.
24th. Yeah.
I would
but-
imagine it's probably a Saturday, but they have a huge. It's a Wednesday.
Okay.
They have a huge auction of all kinds of cool stuff. Just donate it.
Well,
I'm sure there'll
and-
be some Peasley
yeah.
stuff. Speaking of Peasley, Cody just said Peasley got an invite to go work out with the Broncos next week. That's cool. Well, except for it's the Broncos. Eey. But any team. you
I
know,
like the. Well, I mean,
a Chargers
see,
fan,
so
so I
Broncos
can't
was
like the
see
Broncos.
Broncos was the closest team to Casper, Wyoming. So,
Yeah.
and it's about the same elevation as Casper too. So there's a number of reasons I like Broncos.
That's cool. You got an invite to go work out with an NFL team. That's good.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him. That's what he was hoping. I mean,
Yeah.
he and maybe he will end up getting drafted late. Who knows?
Well,
but
and you kind of wonder if there's not some regional, you know, I mean, because he was in Laramie, he was in Utah. Maybe there's some,
I don't think so. That's not really how NFL works. It's more.
Well, I can think that.
Yeah, I mean you can, but I'll tell you right now that ain't how the NFL works. I mean,
Yeah.
very seldom do they even think about where somebody's from.
So,
I mean, it's
yeah,
not-
and-
there's so much money it doesn't matter.
Well-
you know what I mean? Like you
And Russell Wilson, he's not at the Broncos anymore, right? Where did he go?
God, I don't, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Yeah. So who's the main QB at?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
haven't been paying
honestly
attention.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't follow them because I'm like I'm a Chargers fan. So.
You were like you're conflicted though. So even if you did do national sports, you would be conflicted because
Well, I
you'd
mean,
be like, I don't
obviously-
want to cover them.
I would cover. Yeah, I mean, if I had to, I would. But it's just like
No.
there's so many things going on. Like I just pick
Yeah.
and choose. You know, I like certain players in the NFL and I follow them, but like I don't follow the Broncos.
You know, one thing that I did, somebody pointed out to me, is one of my characteristics, and it's a characteristic of our office, is that we're like incredibly loyal.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's
Very.
part of what makes us hyper local,
Yep.
is we're loyal. I mean, we're
Yep.
just like, yeah, we're big, we're committed, you know.
That's why I always get these comments about, you know, when I start my rants about softball. And
Right.
They think that I'm like anti other people, but I'm not. I'm just super loyal.
Right. Yeah.
That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, and George Mendoza said that on, I mean, that's kind of what brought that to the surface for me. On Tuesday, he was talking about his knee surgery and getting it done locally here because, you know, he's
he's loyal.
committed to doing things local. So
Yep, 100%.
yeah.
And that's like my commit. I mean, I graduated LeGrand. You know, used to
But
be my,
do you think that is you think that's an Eastern Oregonian? I mean, when I think of the kind of some of the core values of
I think
Eastern
that's
Oregonian
I
people.
think that's a rural thing for sure.
Oh, yeah,
There's no
okay.
doubt. Like, especially when it comes to sports. Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, yeah, I think it's a rural thing. Like, I think small towns are the people. You have to develop a sense of loyalty in order to get by.
Well, and you don't. I mean, if you grow up in the city, you grow up with 100 different choices of
yeah.
everything.
So your chances of developing a loyalty are slimmer than here. And if somebody, like, screws you over or whatever, you can just go right down the street
Right,
and find
yeah.
the next thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Here you have to figure out who you're gonna
Yeah.
be your
Well,
people.
and I think part of that process makes you value relationships more. Because part of it is like, so even if you have a falling out with your friend or whatever it might be, you try and figure it out. You try and, like, okay, let's get over this obstacle and,
You know who
get back to being a friend.
the most loyal culture I've ever been around when it comes to friendships?
What's that?
Islanders, Samoans, by far. They're the only people I've ever seen in my life. The only culture that will fist fight each other one night and be best friends again the next day.
Really?
Like, if I fist fought my best friend, we
Yeah.
wouldn't talk for a while.
Yeah.
Like, there would be some problems.
Yeah.
But Samoan, that culture, I've seen it numerous times. The fist fight, and then next day, best buddies again. It's
Yeah.
crazy how loyal they are. That culture is. It's nuts.
Did you ever have a fist fight with a best friend?
No.
Or not a best friend, but a really good. I did. When I was in 5th grade, I did. It was like the stupidest thing ever.
I
We were
don't
like
think
peer
so.
pressured into
No.
it. Yeah.
I almost fist fought Jeff, my best friend, one time.
Yeah.
Because he was being an idiot and he was
Yeah.
drunk. But no, we didn't. I was way bigger than him. I would have smacked him around.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been good.
It's kind of a different, and I don't know if kids. I mean, Cody would know this. I don't know that kids handle things physically like they used
You
to.
can't. They'll call
Right.
the cops on you.
Right. Yeah.
No, you can't anymore.
Yeah.
When I was in school, if you got in a fist fight, the cops did not get involved.
Yeah.
Very rarely. So most of the time, the teachers didn't even get involved
Yeah.
it was like something major.
Yeah.
But like my mom, my senior year in high school, was my mom's first year at the high school, and I boxed a kid up right in front of her office, literally.
Yeah.
And all I did was get suspended for the rest of the day. No cops, no, you know what I mean? Nothing.
Right.
Just go home. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Come back tomorrow. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't.
But nowadays, the cops are, there's a cop there.
Yeah. Those. I had a kid. I think I was in the 7th grade, and there was a kid next to me. This was in the middle of a history class, and he had this rubber band. You take a rubber band and you take a piece of tin foil or a gum wrapper and you roll it and make a little U-shaped thing, and you could And anyhow, he was just right across the way from me and shot me and hit me right here in the back of the neck, and I said, it's like, you do that again, I'm gonna knock you out of this chair, And sure enough, he did, and I just got up and punched him. The desk went over. I mean, he was on this side of me. He shot me, and punched him in the face. The desk tipped over. The whole thing. Apparently, the teacher had been watching the whole thing, and all I said is, "Sit down, clap, get up, Underwood." That was it.
What you were asking for. Knucklehead.
That was. I mean, I don't know what possessed me.
Yeah, there's no. And you know what? So when we talk about bullying,
Yeah.
I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I think there's the problem with bullying is people don't beat. You know what I mean? Like, the bully ain't getting beat up because people are
Right.
afraid they're gonna, cops are gonna get involved. This, that. So that kid that's bullying everybody, who would normally, might get punched in the face for being a bully,
Yeah.
ain't getting punched in the face anymore. It's
Yeah.
part of the problem too when it comes to bullying, in my eyes. Anyway.
Well, and a lot of times, a lot of times a bully will be a bully until anyone. They just need someone
Somebody
to say.
just needs to smack them one time. Like,
Well, or
knock
just
it
say
off.
something.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. So, but because a lot of times they meet any resistance. I mean, it's not a great comparison, and I'm not trying to connect the two of them together. But it's not like a shooting incident when somebody takes a gun and they're the they're doing, what do they call it? They're a public shooting of something. The minute that they see some kind of resistance with another gun, a lot of times that stops right now. I mean, even just seeing somebody who's armed.
Yeah, most of the time they end up shooting themselves.
Yeah, right. I mean that.
Once there's something that's going to stop
right.
them.
Yeah. So.
Crazy world we live in that we even have to talk about that.
Yes, it is. It is awful.
Depressing.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
You want to get us out of here?
Not much to talk about besides that.
Yeah.
Cody Bowen says everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's true. Yeah. That's Mike Tyson says that. Yeah. Everybody's a tough guy until they get. I hate getting punched in the nose. There's nothing worse. The nose makes your eyes water. Like I'd rather get hit anywhere but the nose.
It was. I was thinking about that when my friend and I were forced into a fist fight, and right off he punched me in the nose, and it started bleeding, and it was like that was it. I mean, it was. The
nose is no fun.
Yeah.
On this day, April 4th, 1789, U.S. Congress meets and declares the Constitution in effect.
Wow.
1801, on this day, Thomas Jefferson is the first president to be inaugurated in Washington, D.C., in actual Washington, D.C. 1913, on this day, the first U.S. law regulating the shooting of migratory birds. 1936, on this day, the first flight of the airship Hindenburg in Germany. And then today, a couple important things happening today. Massachusetts Air National Guard member Jack Teixeira pled guilty today to leaking U.S. security secrets on social media on Discord. And he took a plea deal that includes at least 11 years in prison for it. And then also today, France is the first country in the world, this happened today, to enshrine access to abortion in its constitution, voting in an amendment. So they're the first country to ever do that. Number one song in America on this day 10 years ago. The number one song in America on this day 10 years ago is Happy by Pharrell. And then the quote of the day comes from Thomas Dewar. Minds are like parachutes. They only function when they're open. One more time. Minds are like parachutes. They only function when they're open. That's all we got on a Thursday.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Next week we've got Donna Beveridge and Chief Bell. Yeah, Tuesday and Thursday. And then be sure and check out Big Fish this weekend at Elgin Opera House. You can get tickets on their website. Yep.
See you on Tuesday.
See you soon.